delighted to say we've been joined in the studio now by Tom Harris. He's the Director of Data and Impact at Free Speech Union. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Julia.
You're here to talk about this city law firm, Hogan Lovells, never heard of them, apparently very big firm. They have vowed to crack down on microaggressions. I mean, at that point, you literally go, do not use this law firm. At that point, that's why I hear, don't use this law firm. To crack down on microaggressions in the office by launching an anonymous reporting hotline for staff upset by things like non-inclusive language at work, saying, hey guys, hey guys, that's rolling your eyes, not looking at someone when they're speaking, and also for the things which should obviously be wrong for people to do. People treating people differently because of their race or their sexuality or their gender. Of course those things would absolutely be wrong, but what do you make of this anonymous reporting hotline? Because some people are saying it's rather Orwellian.
Well, it's very Orwellian, but also working at the Free Speech Union, Julia, I feel it's like Groundhog Day. We were writing letters to universities in 2021 on these snitching portals that they were trying to bring in.
Snitching portals.
It's a great phrase, isn't it? And it's the only way to describe it. And these universities were not fully aware of the risks, the legal risks they were running, because the Equality Act and harassment of people based on small things that they do is something to bear in mind here. And
they may not even know they're doing them. I mean, one of the things would be like someone mispronouncing someone's name, someone misspelling someone's name. Look, some names, especially we live in this very multi-ethnic, multi-diverse country, and sometimes people have names. I have to say, we had a guest, we had him regularly, and he's actually American, but his name was, I don't know, Scottish heritage. I mispronounced his name. I mean, I think every other time. I just couldn't. And I didn't mean anything by it. I apologised every time. I just had this mental block. That was a microaggression by it.
Intent doesn't matter.
Intent doesn't matter.
Intent doesn't matter. It's the hashtag.
If you're mortified by getting
people.
It wrong, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. It's the intent doesn't matter. Effectively, this is a secret police force. You know, it's the secret way of reporting people. It's the next stage on the route to, as you say, an Orwellian society. Where
basically the idea is that everyone reports on everybody. Your children, Stalinist, that all came from, Stalinist Russia, where kids were encouraged, and what happens in North Korea. Children, basically snitch your parents in.
Based on how people feel about things. And
this is the thing.
It's all feelings, it's all victimhood, it's all the hierarchy of protected characteristics, and it's all based on, and it all goes back to these ghastly things like critical race theory. So the definitions that are in it are things like anti-racism, as you say, microaggressions comes from all of that white privilege. It's also from the other side of the same coin, which is queer theory, which is where instead of talking about gays, lesbians and queer people, it's a verb. You queer everything. Oh,
but also, again, I've said a million times on the show, queer was a term that was a term of abuse when I grew up, so it's not a word I would use about that. Someone says, you want to call... I will not call anybody that word because it's just not a word that has the right meaning for me. But this is the thing, I get to choose the words I use. Funny that. Look, there are clearly examples, and I think law, I've got a lot of friends in the legal profession, is a pretty ruthless business, and things are pretty nasty, and there's no doubt at all. I know a lot of young women who, were treated as, oh, you pretty young thing, don't worry your pretty little head. A lot of people of colour struggling to get through, people having to hide their sexuality for many years. Okay, I'm hoping things have changed. I think things have changed in virtually every industry and every profession in the last 10, 20 years. I really think, anyone who thinks they haven't, I think is in cloud cuckoo land. But there will still be some old dinosaurs who will be. I've had sexes, I mean, they've been brave souls, and I admire them for their heroism, but hasn't worked out well for them. But I'm the sort of pain in the butt person who would speak up. I would always speak up if I wasn't happy, but I would speak up if I wasn't happy with what someone else said. But I'm also the sort of person who'd be accused of microaggressions every single day of the week, because I will roll my eyes if someone's talking nonsense, and I will say you're talking nonsense. And I won't use someone's preferred pronouns because I use correct grammatical speech where I can. So this can work against everybody.
But this is not the solution to any of it as well, because what this is doing is, instead of sort of identifying those instances, as you say, where people do get harmed by things, we're putting everything into the same category. So we're putting absolutely harmless things next to harmful things, and you can't see the difference anymore. So not promoting a woman because she's going to have babies, or someone who's black because you think they might not be up to the job because you're prejudiced. We're not focused on that anymore.
But we're allying that with you've rolled your eyes at someone in a meeting.
Exactly, and so all of the energy, all of the time, all of the effort gets put onto things like these, I'm going to go back to that word, snitching portals, that I don't know what then happens. I mean, effectively...
Well, exactly, yeah, what does happen?
The data gets collected. So I actually went to the website, I had a look at this, and Hogan Lovells are not the only ones, obviously, to have used this firm. A lot of big names there. And essentially what they do is they buy this thing off the shelf, they collect the data, and then it's meant to provide a feedback loop into the business. And so it may not be
But also it'll probably come up in your appraisals. A lot of these places do, they sort of, what is it, the 360 appraisals, so people below you, above you. So what if you're telling someone their work's not very good, they're going to give you a bad appraisal, even though their work wasn't very good, and you were perfectly entitled to say that. Claire Pearsall, your favourite, again, I love this. My favourite thing about having Claire in the studio is her face. She's sitting there going, I feel that was a bit of a microaggression, the way you're looking throughout that. I mean, I'm not sure this would survive very long in the world of politics or journalism.
No, it really wouldn't. But it is worrying. What are they going to do with all this data? So they're going to collect it. What are they going to do with it? Is it going to come back in 10 years' time if you apply for another job, for example? You get a reference.
You rolled your eyes in 1984.
Yeah, I mean, that's me out of a job for the rest of my life.
But this is the thing also. Someone says something about you, but you're not told what it is.
Yeah.
You can't defend yourself and say, well, A, that didn't happen, or B, that did happen, but this was the circumstance and this is what provoked me, or it was, or I don't feel I did anything wrong. That's the thing. We're very much into this territory, aren't we? That you're guilty until proven innocent.
Absolutely. That the person who does the reporting is the person who's been harmed in this, even though if they may be a bad actor, and we know that.
In my experience, a lot of the people who do a lot of the complaining are the people who aren't much use at their jobs.
Yeah.
Just going out on a limb here. I managed not to roll my eyes once while Tom was speaking. Tom Harris from the Free Speech Union. Thank you very much indeed. Pleasure to have you in the studio. Well, obviously we'll report him. We'll report him after he's gone on the snitching hotline. Claire Pearsall is going to carry on rolling her eyes.